So you've done all your exams, got a job, and now planning to start applying for a visa to come work in the UK. Or maybe you're just planning ahead. Great idea. I'm going to share everything that I know about applying for a work visa to the UK. So the visa specifically is called the Health and Social Worker Visa. That's if you're coming to work as a doctor or a nurse or a healthcare assistant or anything in the health and social care department. It used to be called the Tier 2 visa before, or is a subcategory of work visas. So to be eligible for this visa, first of all, you must be having a job offer. That is to work as a doctor, a nurse, or any other like job in these other fields of health and social care, e.g. a healthcare assistant, a pharmacist, physiotherapist, occupational therapist, basically any healthcare professional. So to check if your job is eligible, you can put in your details in the gov.uk website, which I will link below, to help and check and see if your specific job is listed as one of the ones that are eligible. So the first thing that is going to be required is a certificate of sponsorship. So your employer is going to issue a certificate of sponsorship or a course, which is basically a document that has your job offer, the salary, your own personal details, name, date of birth, all this kind of thing, and that's what you then use to apply for the visa. In terms of the period of stay, you can only apply for the visa for as long as your job is. So if your job, for instance, is a 1-year contract or 6-month contract or like a 2-year contract, you can only apply for a visa of that length of time, and the maximum amount of time you can apply for in a go is up to 5 years. So how to apply? It's all very straightforward. You just go to the website, which I will link below, fill in all your details, and then at the end you submit. So personally, I have always applied for all my visas. I've never required like a third party or like an agent, because there's some people out there offering that service, but I feel like it's not necessary. It's really straightforward information. Like you can just go and see, fill in everything, and then after that you click submit. Unless of course maybe you have some complicated like immigration history, then maybe you might need a lawyer, or you have some particular issues that you know are going to be a problem, then obviously do seek for help. The earliest that you can apply is 3 months before your job is due to start. So you can't be applying like 4 to 6 months before. I know how excited you can be, but you have to wait until it's 3 months to the date of the job starting, which is the earliest. After submitting your application, then the website is going to redirect you to another website, which is the one that handles the biometrics. So you have to fill in your details again, and then they're going to get you an appointment. There's a calendar system. Look for an appointment to check your biometrics. That is like photo ID, your fingerprints, and these usually you can't get one for free. I've usually been lucky to get one for free, but sometimes you might find that you can't find one available. I'd advise that you just keep refreshing the page if you're really like desperate to save the money, or maybe you're not in a rush as much, then do be refreshing the page. It's kind of like a driving test website where you keep refreshing, eventually an appointment is going to come up. So if you have time, do consider that. If not, then you might have to pay an amount of money, like maybe £100, even 200. So the closer the appointment, then the more expensive it is. And also some centers are more expensive than others. But if you can get to London, usually London has more options. If you have submitted your biometrics before to the Home Office for some reason, then you might not need to repeat all this, because they've recently changed this, and you just have to let them know, and I'll let you know the process of how to go about with that. So when to get a decision is going to be about 3 weeks. So the Health and Social Care Visa, right now, they say it takes about 3 weeks to get a decision. So the last time I applied for this visa, it did take 3 weeks. Within, I think like even 1 week, maybe 1.5, we had a decision. And then by the 2-week mark, they had already sent the BRP. So it was all pretty quick. Although recently, because of COVID, there's like a bit of a backlog. I understand sometimes in some instances, it can take longer, but usually they do tend to follow the timelines. And this is so much better than before, because before it was called the Health and Social Care Visa, you had to wait up to 8 weeks if you're applying within the UK, that is. And it was a really long period of time, and you'd have all kinds of problems, like you have difficulty renting, you have difficulty with things, because if you don't have a valid BRP. So you can apply for your dependents as well as part of your application, or even later. And for dependents, this can only be your partner or your children. In terms of the cost of the visa, so there are 2 main costs. The first one is the cost of the actual visa application, which I will insert the prices here. And also the other thing is the cost of the savings that you must show. So if your employer has not ticked that they're going to provide you with maintenance funds, then you're going to have to show proof of maintenance funds, i.e. what are you going to live on before your first salary. So they want you to show a specific amount of money that you must have in your account for at least 28 days before applying for the visa. That is going to be that the money they assume is going to be that will cover your expenses before getting your first salary. Most employers, even though they do tick the maintenance box, are not going to give you money anyway. So you do want to be saving the money, because when you do arrive, there's going to be lots of costs for just initially moving into the country. So you do want to be saving the amount of money anyways, regardless. So the application fee is around £247 for a visa up to 3 years, and around £479 for a visa longer than that. Another cost that is worth mentioning that you don't have to pay, but I feel like it's so cool, because I had to pay this for years and years, and it used to be so painful, and it was loads of money, because it's even more than the application fees, is the immigration health surcharge. This is the amount of money that you have to pay to be able to use the NHS, and luckily they script that for NHS workers. So if you're coming to apply on this visa, then usually you don't have to pay it. So you can be glad for all that. So do save the other money and just appreciate that actually it could be so much worse, because a lot of other people in other professions still have to pay this money. In terms of the documents required, do not go overboard. Only send them the information they have requested. Don't be sending pictures of your family and friends, pictures of all your property. I know previously I have seen visa applications like this, and yeah, just put whatever they have requested for, and then that should be enough. The first thing is really the course, which is a certificate of sponsorship. The second is proof of English proficiency. If you're a doctor or a nurse, then probably you've already had to do this exam. So they say that you should just, if you've already had to prove to your regulatory body about your English, then you don't have to show them again. But I would still do it anyway, because if you've got the certificate, then why not give it to them? The third thing is your passport, obviously. You must have a valid passport. The fourth thing is your proof of savings. So that is like your bank statements showing the amount of money that you have in your account that's going to be covering you if you need this. If you have maintenance funds ticked, then probably you don't need that. The fifth thing is a proof of relationship to your dependents if you're applying with them. So that would be like a birth certificate for your children, and maybe like a marriage certificate for your spouse, or some other proof that you've been living together for like a long period of time. If you're bringing them as a partner, like a civil partner or like unmarried partner, that's also allowed. You also need a TB certificate. This is if you're from a listed country, and Uganda is one of the listed countries. So to get the TB certificate, you have to go to a place called IOM, so International, I think, Office of Migration or something. Then they do an x-ray, and then they clear you. Basically, they give you a certificate. That's more money as well. I think it was like $200, I'm not sure. Then the last thing you need is a criminal record certificate. A criminal record certificate is going to be required for all countries that you have lived in previously for longer than a certain amount of time. So personally, I did get mine from Interpol in Kampala. Well, I wasn't there, someone helped me when I was applying for a work visa, because I was switching. And then your adult dependents will also require this certificate as well. So you do want to be getting that from all countries that you have lived in, like there's a specific criteria. I will link the website below so you can go and get more details. And yeah, so that's it, guys. I hope it's all pretty straightforward. I'm going to make sure I link it below, like I've said. Go and check it out. If you want your parents to be coming to visit you easily, regularly, then you do want to be applying for a long-term visit visa for them, because they're not considered dependent. So that's the best really that you can get. And I've made a whole video on that, which I have linked here.